So come to your mats. We're actually going to start on our backs today. So come all the way down to your spine. And then bring the soles of your feet to touch and your knees out wide. You may want to place pillows or blocks underneath where your knees are, just to help gently open while we're laying here to start class. But if this feels comfortable to you, you can just get some wiggles out, roll your shoulders on your back, start to close your eyes. And if you'd like, you can bring your hands to your belly in order to start to pay attention and tune into your breath. I've mentioned if you've taken restorative before, there's so much emphasis on our breath, and that's really because we tend to shallow breathe throughout the day, especially when we're anxious or stressed out. And so just paying attention and actually tuning into that can help you be more present and also help calm you down and get you ready to just calm down for your evening and get ready for bed. So as we're laying here and just gently opening in the lower back and our hips, just start to pay attention to your breath. So you can silently just count in your head as you inhale. Can you expand your belly out as wide as possible? And then on the exhale, slowly start to release and bring your belly back in. And you may, if you start counting, and this is completely up to you, you may notice that they're not even. So just try to lengthen your inhales and your exhales by a count or two. Try to make them even and just come back to your breath at any point during class. It's here for you to help you get through any difficult poses. During this evening's class, I will be timing our postures, and I'll always let you know when we're about halfway through, just so if you want to take any modifications or get deeper into a pose, you have that option. I will mind the time for you, so all you have to do is listen to your body, and if anything I'm calling for, it doesn't work for you, feel free to modify. I will always call out some modifications if they're available, but if there's something else that you would rather be doing while you're in restorative, you can take that at any time as well. Can you start to soften the muscles in your face? We tend to clench our jaws and just hold on to a lot of tension there. Same with our eyebrows. So just start to soften and bring some attention and awareness to that. And as you're laying here, you may find that now that we've been in this pose for a few minutes, that your knees are getting closer to the earth. So if you use some props underneath your knees, you can always remove them at this point if you don't feel like you might need them anymore, or perhaps you just change the position a little bit. If you're cozy and feel the opening in your low back and in the front part of your body as well, you can just, again, focus on your breathing, bring your awareness and tension there. We're already halfway through this pose, more than halfway through. So again, if you need to make any modifications. But as you lay here in these postures, you may not feel like you're doing that much because you're just staying still, but that is the entire purpose of our restorative practice, is to practice stillness and to also allow our muscles the ability to really stretch in holding these for so long. So you may not feel the opening right away, but my goal at the end of this class is that you can have a little bit more mobility and you can feel just a little bit lighter, that you've been able to release and let something go. Perhaps you had a rough week already and we're only at Wednesday. You can leave that here and let that go. Another 30 seconds in this pose, taking what you still might need, releasing anything that you don't. Slowly, on your next inhale, you can start to close your knees back together like a book. Bring your knees in towards your chest, and you can either sway from side to side or just do little circles with your knees in one direction. Then perhaps you go in the other direction, just to loosen up our low back since we had held that posture for so long. On your next inhale, release your left leg down to the ground, extend it out long on your mat. Keep your right knee in towards your chest. And just allow your entire spine to touch down on the mat. So just imagine the crown of your head all the way down to your left heel, that all of that is pressing firmly on the mat. And then you can either interlace your fingers together to just hold on to your right shin. And as you feel more open, you can ease that over towards your right armpit, just a little bit more. So we'll just hold this here for a brief stop before we take a twist. So this is just helping our spine ground down, just to release some more tension. Slowly, when you're ready, grab onto your right knee with your left palm. Extend your right arm out to the side of the room and slowly start to nudge your knee towards the left side of the room for a deep twist. If keeping your left knee is too straight is too much for you, you can always bend both legs to come into a supine twist that way. Or you can keep it extended, but then you can place some kind of prop underneath your right knee just to hold you up there since we'll be taking this twist for so long. Pay attention to your upper back. If your shoulder blades are not both grounded on the mat, start to roll over and roll your shoulders on your back. You may need to back off of the twist a little bit to allow that to happen. And when you get into a good, comfortable shape, just start to take your gaze over towards your right palm and softly close your eyes once you're there. Again, you can make any modifications here that feel good to you, and you might need different things on each side. So just listen and pay attention to that. Twisting is so good for releasing and letting things go. So again, if you had a challenging day, week, month, year, 2020, just focus on engaging here in order to release and twist out whatever you don't need anymore. You can always, with your eyes closed, just picture that happening as you're laying here and opening up in this twist, that all those things that you no longer need are just leaving. And at the end of class, you can wipe them away when you roll up your mat and move on with your evening. We're already halfway through on this side, so take any moves, wiggles, different shape if you need. But if you're cozy, just stay where you're at. Pay attention to your breath. If you've lost track of that or you've let your mind wander a bit, just come back to your breath. Come back to your reason why you signed up for class today. Have about 30 more seconds here. Taking any last movements, rinsing out anything that you still need to let go of on this side. Just focusing on your breath for these last final moments. When you're ready, you can slowly start to make your way back towards center. Again, just bring both of your knees into your palms, sway from side to side. Just release your lower back, come off of that twist, bring some movement back into your space. And when you're ready, we'll swap it out. So extend your right leg long on the mat and just gently nudge your left knee in towards your chest. Again, you can interlace your hands around your shin. And if that feels good, you can start to nudge your left knee in towards your left armpit just to further open here. Being mindful that the back of your neck, your head, your spine, your shoulder blades are still grounded on the ground. So if you've come off too far, just relax your neck and your head down. Keep your gaze in a neutral position up towards the sky. And then slowly grab onto your left knee with your right palm and start to nudge it over towards the right side of the mat. Again, this side might feel a lot different. You might need to take a modification here by bending both of your knees over towards the right. You might need a prop underneath your left knee just to help you guide you down closer to the earth. But once you've found a comfortable spot for your legs, you can roll your shoulders on your back. Make sure that both of your shoulder blades are touching the mat, and then start to slowly take your gaze over to your left fingertips and softly close your eyes once you're there. It might be harder to stay still in this twist, but you get so much benefit once you stopped wiggling to just take in all the benefits of the stretch that you're giving to your body. So if you do need to move to get more comfortable, feel free to do that, but then try to stay still. If you find your mind racing and just thinking about all the stuff that you need to get done or things that are supposed to happen this weekend, just relax. You're on your mat here for these 60 minutes, so can you just be present for that amount of time? And if you start to notice that your mind does wander, that's okay. No judgment. Just start to bring some awareness to that to bring yourself back. And that in itself is the practice of yoga. So just be mindful of that as you practice this evening. We're more than halfway through. So again, if you need to make any adjustments, please do so. If you're feeling cozy here, just enjoy the stretch. Imagine that you're wringing out a dish towel full of water. You're giving your internal organs a gentle massage, something that typically throughout your day you aren't holding twists for this long. So it's just another opportunity to wring out, to release, to let something go. You might also feel a great stretch on your left IT band and your hip area. This is really good to stretch out that part of our body as well. Thirty more seconds here. Taking any final breaths Knee movements, anything that you still need. And then slowly, when you're ready, just start to make your way back to center again. Just take a few moments to roll from side to side, just to loosen up your low back. When you're ready, start to slowly make your way to a seated position. And place your right shin parallel with the front of your mat. And then when you're ready, start to bring your left shin so that you can stack your shins as close together as possible. If your left knee is too uncomfortable, it's just too far off of your mat, you can always place a block or a pillow underneath that knee just to bring it down towards the mat. But we're gonna hang out here in double pigeon or fire log. If this is just way too much for you, you're feeling way too much in your hips, you can always take supine pigeon on your back. So I will just demo that here, just in case you need. So come down to your mat, keep your right foot planted into the mat, and then bring your left ankle over your right knee, and then you can just gently nudge your left knee away. If you want something more but didn't want the double pigeon, you can just bring your right knee up and then use your left elbow to push your left knee away. So this is just a really great alternate if the double pigeon isn't good for you. But if you're in double pigeon, you can do a couple things. You can stay still and take your gaze towards the ground just to start to release. And if you're feeling good there, you can slowly crawl your way down to fold forward. If you need more of a stretch, you should feel a great stretch in your left hip right now. So if you need to, you can keep crawling yourself down until you feel that stretching sensation as we're holding this. If you have a lot of neck issues or just want to release some tension in your neck, you can always grab on to the left side of your head with your right hand and gently nudge your neck over, your head and neck over towards the right side, and just holding there, not placing a lot of pressure, just gently holding over that way. And then releasing that and just swapping it out to the other side. So you can grab on to the right side of your head with your left hand and slowly start to nudge your head over towards the left. Back to center. And if you haven't done so already, just start to take your gaze to a neutral position towards the earth. And again, if you need more of a stretch, you can really start crawling down. If you have a lot of flexibility, you can come onto your forearms. You can always place blocks or pillows underneath there to place your forehead down. We're halfway through this side already. So if you started to make your way down, you can come a little further if that feels good to you. If you're in a spot that feels good, you can just close your eyes and enjoy this intense hip opener. Typically, we store a lot of stuff in our hips, so one side is likely going to feel a little bit more tense than the other, and that's okay. You're taking the opportunity to release a lot of stress and tension that you might be carrying around with you throughout your day. So just think of that, send breath to either side if you're feeling a little bit of tension there. But again, this is your class, so you can always even take traditional pigeon or sleeping swan if these variations aren't enough for you or you need a little bit more of a deeper hip opener. But wherever you're at, just tune into your breath. You might be holding it a little bit more in this posture than normal, so just pay attention to that. Pay attention to the muscles in your neck. Are you tensing up in your shoulders? Can you roll them down your back? Just allowing for some opening. We have 30 more seconds here before we swap it out. When you're ready, we'll just switch to the other side. So you'll take, excuse me, your left shin parallel to the top of your mat. And when you're in a comfortable position there, you'll switch it out. Again, you may need a block underneath your knee. Finding what's comfortable to you. And if you would like, you can take some gentle neck circles in one direction. Perhaps you go the other way. And when you feel like you're ready, you can start to crawl yourself down to a comfortable spot. Release your neck, close your eyes, just enjoy this deep stretch. Pay attention to your breath here. And start to count your inhales and your exhales again as you're holding this. Make sure that you're lengthening your breathing. And can you allow yourself on every exhale to melt just a little bit further towards the ground? To release something else to further open on this side. And as I mentioned, each side is different. So you may feel a lot more tension on this side. And again, you have to take it to where you're comfortable. So if it's not feeling good to you, back off. Pay attention to your body. And if you need something more, you can always come further down towards the ground. We're halfway through the side. Allow your head and neck to hang heavy here. So again, releasing any tension in your upper body. Props are really great if you want to stack up some pillows just to have something to rest your forehead down to, so you don't have to carry the weight of that. But again, just find what works for you here. Are you still paying attention to your breath, or have you already wandered off to something else? Bring your attention back there. And perhaps you're not breathing much at all. So again, just start to lengthen your inhales and your exhales. Perhaps you take a few deep breaths in and full open mouth sigh out, just to let something go that you no longer need to carry around. I have about 30 more seconds here. I've almost made it through double pigeon, which is single pigeon's intense enough, but this is just extra intense, but for a good reason. Again, to just let a lot of things go out of our hips that we've just been storing onto, all that tension and stress. So look at it as an opportunity to start over. When you're ready, just slowly start to make your way out. You've held that for quite a bit, so you can always bring your palms behind your seat with your fingertips facing your glutes. And then windshield wiper your knees from one side and then to the other, just to help loosen up our hips, low back, everything that we were compressing for so long. And on your time, when you're ready, come to a tabletop position. Plant your left palm into the mat. Inhale, take your right palm up to the sky. Take your gaze up to your right palm. And then slowly start to bring your palm facing up through your left arm for thread the needle. So if you want more of a relaxing posture, you can always come to child's pose legs instead of being in a tabletop position. If you would like to get more into your shoulder, you can stay in tabletop. But essentially, your right palm will be facing up towards the left side, and then you'll want to place your head on something. So if the floor is just way too far away for you, place a pillow or a block underneath your head. This might be enough for you. If you want more of a deep stretch, you can extend your left palm up towards the top of your mat. The key here is to keep your hips level with the ground. So your left hip will likely want to jet up. So just see if you can shift your hips back towards the right, just to level them off a little bit. And again, if you want to come to child's pose, you'll just bring your knees out wide, your toes to touch, and then you can still do thread the needle on the side. So you should feel some pressure on your shoulder, but no pain. If you have any pain in your shoulder, you definitely want to back off of that. But this is just a really great pose to undo all of the typing that we're doing at our computers, the texting, hunched over when we drive, just all that forward movement. And so this really compresses our shoulder joint and allows us to release some of that. And this can be a really great heart and chest opener. So just sink in here, close your eyes if you haven't done so already. And it may feel very uncomfortable at first because we typically don't do a lot of shoulder opening, but the more that you relax and use your breath, the easier that this becomes. So find again what works for you, and that might look different tonight than it did last week, and that's okay. We're already halfway through. If you need to make any modifications, you can, but if you're cozy, if you feel good, just continue to tune into your breath. 30 more seconds here. If you've extended your left hand towards the top of your mat, just slowly start to bring that in towards your chest, and then just leave it there for some final moments before we move on to the other side. Take a deep breath in. And a big open mouth sigh out, let it go. Do that again. One more big breath in. And a big open mouth, let it go. Push up on your next inhale. Raise your right palm up to the sky. Take your gaze up. And then just take some big arm circles towards the top of your mat. And then when you're ready, go in the opposite direction. Just to let that go, bring some more movement and mobility into the shoulder. And when you're ready, we're just gonna swap that out. So plant your right palm into your mat. Inhale, take your left palm up to the sky, take your gaze up. And then exhale, thread the needle on this side, bringing your left palm up and over towards the right hand side. Again, find somewhere to place your head, if you can, on the mat. If not, if you need a prop, certainly use that. And then if you want, you can extend your right hand out towards the top of your mat, just for an extra stretch. And again, be mindful of your hips. If you stayed in tabletop variation, make them even. And if you decided to go towards child's pose, just be mindful of your hips sinking down into your heels, distributing your weight evenly on this side. And softly close your eyes if you have not already. And this side might not be as intense, depending on your body and how much you use your left arm versus your right. So if this is your easier side, just enjoy this time of not having such an intense stretch on your shoulder. But this might be harder for you, so just pay attention to that and back off if you need. The point of restorative is to open you up and to let stuff go, but not cause you pain. So again, you guys know your body's best. And anything that I'm calling out, if it's just not resonating with you, just feel free to take any other posture that you'd like. This is your time. We're halfway through this side already. So if you need to, you can make a few adjustments, but otherwise just tune into your breath. I know we often say that a lot during class, but it's so easy to tune that out and forget about it. So just mindfully pay attention to it and pay attention to how either the mat or your prop feels underneath your face. Are you holding on to tension on the left side of your face, or can you just release the muscles there? And then as you're opening the shoulder, just send your awareness to how you're feeling and how different this side might feel than your right side did. You have 30 more seconds here. So if you've extended your right hand towards the top of your mat, just slowly start to slide that in towards your chest. But stay here for a few more breaths, just to collect yourself before we move on. Take a deep breath in, and a big open mouth, sigh out, let it go. One more time, big breath in, expand your belly out, bring in some good air. Exhale, sigh it out, let it all go. When you're ready, slowly start to press into your right palm. Bring your left palm and your gaze up to the sky. And then just start to rotate your shoulder on this side by bringing your palm towards the front of your mat, just for some nice arm circles here. And then when you're ready, just take it in the opposite direction. Come down to your belly all the way on the floor. Bring your chin to a neutral position and go post your arms. When you're ready, just slowly start to bring your left knee in towards your left elbow for half frog. So before you get comfortable here, plant your toes on your right foot into the mat. Lift your hips up and off the mat, and then slide them over towards the right, just to open up the left groin just a little bit more before you get cozy. You can take your right cheek down to the mat to look over towards the left side, or if you want a full spinal twist, you could take it over towards the right. It may be too hard and not accessible for you to do that right off the bat, so you can always take your gaze over towards the left, and then halfway through, when I call halfway through on the side, you can flip it out towards the other side. But just come to a position that feels good to you. Close your eyes. You may be thinking to yourself that we did double pigeon and that was an intense hip opener, so why the heck are we doing more hip opening? And when I built this class, when I was coming up with just the postures, I typically put in things that I need the most, just selfishly knowing that I'm doing this along with you guys. And for me, I carry so much stress and tension in my hips, and it's been quite a few stressful weeks, and just knowing that I had the opportunity to release some of that, because like some of you, I'm sure, I tend to hold on to a lot of stuff and I bury it and I say I'm fine, when in reality I'm not fine. And there's a lot of stuff going on right now where we can all say that, we're not all doing okay. So I thought that if I need this, there's likely someone else out there that needs to release and have the opportunity to let something go. So take this opportunity to release something that you don't need or you don't need to worry about, at least not for right now, and just let it be there. And whatever emotion that might come up for you, just let it happen. Just focus on your breathing. Focus on the fact that you did this for yourself. We're already halfway through. So if you're cursing me under your breath for making you do another hip opener, we're almost ready to swap it out. So just send some breath there. And if you don't want to do a hip opener, you can always just lay in belly down Shavasana and just enjoy the benefits of being on your mat. We're halfway through. We'll just take a few more breaths here before we swap it out. Again, big breath in. And a full open mouth, sigh out. And when you're ready, start to just extend your left leg to meet your right at the bottom of your mat. And then we'll take that on the other side. So start to slowly bring your right knee in towards your right elbow. And before you get cozy, plant your left toes into the mat, lift your hips up and walk them slightly over towards the left side of your mat just to have a deeper stretch in the right groin. And then when you're ready, you can either take your gaze over towards your right hand, or if you want a full spinal twist, you can take it over to the left. And again, maybe halfway through, you split that out. So just think of releasing something on this side, and each side is so different, and you might not feel as much sensation on this side, or maybe you feel more. So just allow whatever is happening to work its way out. Again, a gentle reminder to focus on your breath here. In challenging postures, we tend to hold our breath or have very shallow breathing. So just, again, see if you can extend your inhalations and your exhalations. And if after a little bit you don't feel as much sensation, you can plant your toes back into the mat and just walk your left hip over again, just to feel more sensation in the right side if needed. We're already halfway through on this side. So again, make any adjustments that you need, but try to stay still. If you find that your mind wanders a lot in this pose, you can always just tune into different sensations. So feeling the floor underneath your palms and just paying attention to what that feels like. And perhaps you, again, bring your attention back to your breath just to ground you and listen to the music or the sound of my voice, bringing you back to be present on your mat. About 30 more seconds. So again, using this as an opportunity to release and let go. Slowly, when you're ready, you can start to extend your right leg back. And then before we move on, you can always windshield wiper your legs from side to side while you're on your belly, just to release what we just did. when you're ready, come up through tabletop. And then exhale, we're gonna come to child's pose. So toe tips to touch, knees out wide. And when you have found a comfortable shape with your lower body, start to extend your arms out towards the top of your mat. And we want a really passive child's pose. So rest your forearms down to the mat and then place either a pillow, a block, or if you can bring your forehead down to the mat, just bring it down to something so that you can ground your forehead. If you would like, you can also take embryo pose by just closing your knees together, sitting back on your heels, and then instead of reaching your arms out in front of you, you can bring them towards your heels with your palms facing up and just place your forehead down on the ground. So again, finding what works for you tonight. That's gonna look different for each of us. And just settle in. Feel the calming effects of having your forehead placed on something. It's a really good technique if you're ever having any kind of anxiety episode or panic attack, to not only focus on your breathing, but to also place a hand or your forehead on something. So the ground, your palm, something that you can just press into the middle of your forehead to bring some relief there. It helps you calm just down just a little bit. And then of course, focusing on our breathing, which we so often forget, especially in stressful times. If you haven't done so already, roll your shoulders down your back, just to allow your upper body to rest. Release any tension that you might be holding onto in your jaw. Remove your tongue from the roof of your mouth and just relax. Really feel as if you could melt into your mat. So perhaps on every exhale, just see if you can just melt a little bit further, just relaxing down just a little bit more. You have about 30 more seconds in this pose. Just breathe in and breathe out, sinking down a little bit more in your hips, your sit bones. Feeling a little bit more grounded and calm. Slowly on your next inhale, start to crawl your palms in towards you so that you can come out of this child's pose. Come down to your seats, and you'll want something close by, some kind of prop, so either your block or a pillow. And when you're ready, just come all the way back down to your spine, just like how we started class. Keep your feet planted into the earth with your knees pointed up towards the sky. And then slowly on your next inhale, lift your hips and place whatever prop you have available to you underneath your sacrum or your lower back. And in order to find the right placement for this, you can try lifting your legs up towards the ceiling. And if you can do that without wobbling all over the place, you've hit the right spot. So just take a few moments to get in that, but then just coming down to a supported bridge. And if you have a block or a book or something that's a little bit bigger, you can play around with what side of that block or book that you're on. So if you want to give yourself more height, to bring your hips up more towards the ceiling, you can adjust the block by switching it to a different side. But just so that your heart is lower than your hips, just to allow some break there, and then your head is lower than your heart, just to allow your heart a little bit of a break as well. So whatever position you're in, bring your hands back to your belly and softly close your eyes. So just like we started out, just start to pay attention to your inhales and your exhales. And on your inhales, you want to expand your belly out as wide as you can, soaking up all the air. And then on your exhale, just bring your belly button in closer towards your spine, releasing all the air. And paying attention to how long your inhalations and exhalations are, and if you can make them more even. So if your inhales are only at a 3 count and then your exhales are at a 5, can you bring both to a count of 5, just to, again, try to lengthen and be mindful of our breath. And this mini inversion just allows our heart a little bit of a break from all the stress and tension from our week. So just enjoy the benefits of that alone. And just listen to the sound of your own breath for a few moments. You can start to add 1 count to both your inhale and your exhale. So if you're at a 4 or a 5 count, can you stretch it to 5 or 6? We have about 30 more seconds here before we remove the prop. You can always decide to stay in this shape for our Shavasana, our final resting pose. That's completely up to you. If you're comfortable here, you should stay here. But if you're ready to move on to a different shape for the final few moments of class, you can just slightly lift up your hips and remove whatever prop has been placed there, and then you can bring your knees in towards your chest and just slightly rock from side to side. And if you need to take any other posture before you end your practice, you can feel free to throw that in. If you do have a wall available to you, I highly recommend taking Shavasana with legs up the wall, so you'll just bring your seat as close as the wall as possible, and then you'll extend your legs up the wall. It's just such a good benefit to help with circulation. Also helps you get ready for bed. So if you have that option and want to try that out, please do so. But if you just want some regular old Shavasana, which is also a great pose to end our practice, just find a comfy shape by extending your legs out long. And I recommend placing your palms either on your belly just to pay attention to your breath, or you can place them down facing the ground to get some more grounding energy, just to feel a little bit more relaxed and calm and centered for the rest of your evening. So find a position that feels good, whatever position you're in. Just close your eyes, roll your shoulders down your back. And again, pay attention to the muscles in your face. Can you relax them just a little bit? And when you're ready, stop all your wiggles and movements and just enjoy some rest. Shavasana is here for you as long as you need. You're in your own space, and if you're cozy where you're at, feel free to tune me out and stay in Shavasana as long as possible. But if you're ready to move on with your evening to get into bed or just further wind down for the rest of the evening, just start to slowly bring some awareness back to your body. Perhaps you wiggle your fingers and your toes and roll your wrists and your ankles out. And then slowly just make your way to one side or the other for a brief stop and fetal pose. Closing your eyes if you haven't done so already, and just thank yourself for being here on your mat. When you're ready, start to slowly make your way to a comfortable seated position. Bring your hands to heart center and softly close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and a full open mouth sigh out. Let it go. Breathe in something good, something calming, something wonderful that you still need. And on your exhale, breathe out something that you don't. Let it go. Thank you guys so much for joining me this evening. I hope you all sleep well and have a wonderful night's sleep. Thank you so much.
Namaste.